Wyrd Realities explores the paranormal, preternatural, and supernatural worlds that surround us. Here we delve into those topics that challenge us to think outside the limitations of realism, where we test the boundaries of imagination and are forced to think outside the confines and restrictions of what is normal. We are the creators, the writers, the artists, and the insane. Welcome to our Wyrd Realities.
Happy Thursday, everybody. This is Hadley, and I'm super excited to introduce our special guest host, Mr. Hilton Ariel Ruiz, and you know the rest of the kids, Scott Baker, Rich Restucci, and Alan Gamboa.
Okay.
So, how are you guys doing?
Good. It's a good Thursday. We got
back to my old abode.
Right now, look who we got.
Yeah,
We got somebody with us tonight.
got a treat for all their viewers out there. You know, anyone that follows us, and hopefully we'll get some more.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on today.
Well, we're excited. It's good to have you back. You've got a new movie out.
Yes.
I think I know I watched it. I think Alan, I don't know if Rich had time.
I haven't. I didn't watch it.
Rich has had family stuff going on, so.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, no,
happening soon.
Yeah, the film released was about 2 weeks ago. It was released Amazon Prime. You know, it premiered there, and then slowly but surely other streaming services. I just got a message today actually that Tubi selected it.
Oh,
so
good.
It should be there. It usually takes probably like a week or two. It's weird. Sometimes they'll tell me a project got selected, and then boom, tomorrow morning it'll be there. Or sometimes it takes like 2 to 3 weeks. So that's the good news. You know, they messaged me saying that it got selected. So I'm pretty sure all the usual suspects is going to be coming down with all the different streaming services. And you know, it's a good service, obviously, because you know you could go and watch it without signing up or doing anything, and just watch it right there with commercials and stuff like that. And so that is good news about the project.
Hilton, how hard is it to get it onto a streaming service? Is that a chore, or is it fairly easy?
You know, I mean, I would say that it depends on the distribution that you have your film in. And basically what happens is if you do a film, the distributor will pitch it out to them, and usually the distribution will pitch it out to all the usual suspects, and of course Amazon is probably on top of the list that they want to send it out to. And it's just basically they look at it, they like it, they select it. And that's just the way it is. There's some films that Amazon refused of mine, and there's some that they took. And so it's just, I guess how whoever is looking at it, who's ever reviewing the project, selects it or not. And this, they chose this. I was like, oh, fine, this is great. So that was good about it. But I would say it's just with every film that you put out there in distribution, because you could even like, if you don't even have a distribution, you could actually send it to them. You could go onto their Amazon, upload version of uploading your film and everything. And you could actually submit your film yourself to them, and they'll give you an answer directly, and they'll tell you yes or no.
It's just like an indie writer then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Say again?
I said just like an indie writer, really.
Yes, absolutely. So that is probably one of the, I would say like the great thing that has happened in the past couple of years is where, there's like no more, there's still that middleman, but the middleman is disappearing slowly but surely. And where the filmmakers now have a lot of control, like, okay, I don't even have to go. I could go directly to them. The only thing is that we're still not getting paid like we would love to get paid. You know what I mean? But that's, hopefully down the road that changes. And again, I think that's also with writers as well. It's almost like self-distribution. That's basically where we're all doing, kind of, where we're just cutting out the middleman and going out there and say who wants to take it, who wants to, produce or distribute the film, distribute the book, stuff like that. And I think that's pretty cool. That the business has just completely changed. From the publishing world, I think, took the hardest hit. I mean, wow. I mean, it's incredible what kind of a hit they took. Pros and cons, of course, right? There's some good with it and there's bad with it as well. But I had actually experienced that with a book that I did, and the pros definitely is that they have all the PR behind it, and they was able to get the book all over so many different magazine outlets, book outlets, interviews and stuff like that. But it's just a robbery.
Well, I didn't know you wrote a book. Tell us about this.
So no, I did not write a book, and I definitely planning to, because a lot of people is telling me, when it's time to get a book out. So what happened is, about, I would say 10 or 12 years ago, I produced a book of, I mentioned this also in the last podcast I did, of this photography of 42nd Street, photographs of 42nd Street from 1983 to 1984. And it was basically photographs during that time, from photographs from this photographer by the name Bill Butterworth. And it was published by Powerhouse Books, which they're home here in Brooklyn, New York, and they were distributed by Random House. And they, it was a success. The book came out, and it was, like a coffee table book and everything like that. And it was a good experience. I would say, like, the first time I've experienced getting published by a sort of a known big name and distributed by a big company, and learning the ins and outs of it, and learn, like, what should I do? What would I do differently if I would do it again? But that was basically a photo book.
So your coffee table book didn't have legs on it?
Did it? Listen, that would have been a pretty good marketing thing to do for it. That would have been awesome. Yeah.
I want to ask you, just going back to the beginning, you were talking about Tubi. Now, Zombie with Shotgun's on Tubi too, right? Right now.
Yes, there's a Tubi.
And that Tubi is like the go-to horror.
Yeah.
Right now. I mean, so you getting your 66666 out there.
Yeah.
On Tubi, that'd be great too,
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Listen, it's funny that you said that, because earlier I watched Subspecies Part 5, right? It looks like it premiered in Tubi. I was shocked, because I was trying to look for that movie for the past couple months, saying that it was going to get released. And I was like, what now? And then today I go on it. I'm like, holy shit. Right there. I was like, how did this happen? And so I watched it today, but you're right. It is the play stuff of horror. I mean, it's just
exploded
incredible.
in the past 2 years, Tubi.
Oh yeah,
it's enormous now. I mean, everybody, it's going to be the next Netflix. It really is.
Yeah, I read that. I'm pretty sure that the Murdoch family bought it. They won't mention it, but Fox basically bought it, and they
really.
Yeah, but they were smart in one way, is that they kept everybody the same people who ran it. They're still running it, but they bought it, and they're putting the money in. But the guy who started it still running the whole Tubi, the way it now they're doing original content, and stuff like that. But it's blown up, and I think you're right. I think it's scaring competitors like Netflix, and look today they announced that they might sell Hulu streaming services. I mean, they the first people to basically go out there and say, hey, watch the film for free. And they're doing awesome. I mean, you got big movies. They have Jurassic Park now, the whole series of Jurassic Park in there now.
And there's a lot of hidden gems there's a lot of them. Like 15 minutes I get rid of. There's classic old movies.
Yep.
There's a lot of hidden gems to it. I live on Tubi.
Yeah, I love it too.
That's great. I mean, I found the original Thing on there. The old black and white. I mean, it's like you couldn't find it anywhere unless you paid for it. And then, oh man,
Yeah, no, it's just like today. I could not believe that Part 5 was there, and I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a full moon, right?
Yeah.
Is that full moon?
Yeah.
They got a lot on there. I think they have their own little genre or whatever on there.
Yeah, they got the app. Yes, their own streaming service. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is. Yes, and like I said, like independent filmmakers, such as us, it's a perfect place for it. It gives us. I know I've read a lot of stuff saying that it's a lot of the big films are pushing away the independent filmmakers out of Tubi, but that there's I think that there's room for everybody, and I think it's still a good platform for independent filmmakers. It helps us promote our stuff. Like myself, I promote my stuff every day on stuff that I haven't in streaming services. That's the only way that's the only way to do it. And they have a couple of my films streaming there, and it's and the same thing with Tubi. Like there's some films that Tubi has taken, and there's some films that they haven't taken that Amazon's taken. It's just weird, And like I had my original web series of Zombie with a Shotgun. Tubi didn't take it. They took the feature film, but the original web series they did not take. But Amazon took it. That's just weird. And then you have other places that took it, and I was like, okay, but still, it's fine with me. But it's just how, going back to your question of like how hard it is. It's just I guess whoever decides to review it and say, hey, we're going to keep this, we want this, or we don't. So I think it's awesome.
So I'll ask one more thing, so I don't hog it all. But do you go to film festivals or anything like that? Submit your movies to film festivals, or
that's a great question. I don't go to film festivals no more. I used to go to film festivals. I'm going to sound like an old man. Like 20, 25 years ago, I used to always submit to film festivals, and I just felt like it just took too long. I just felt like submitting it, spending almost like $500, $600 on the submissions and stuff like that. And look, man, we all know what it is. It's all it's who and stuff like that. We all know stories. I've had people that know people. Oh, I could get you in there and everything like that. But it just to me, it just took too long. And a lot of people tell me, oh, you should go to these film festivals, like the 666. As soon as it was done, boom, I put in the stream. And people say, oh, put in the festivals. I was like, dude, by the time I find out 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, and the distribution company is going to do the same thing that I'm able to do. Right. Yeah, I might have probably found a home somewhere, sold some territories and stuff like that. But I really believe that my work, I own all my IP. I own every single one of my stuff. There's nobody that owns it. So I think there's a little bit of fear of me, like, you know what? I don't want anybody to take like a 7 to 10 year sort of, hold on the film. And I felt like 666 was good. I think it was good. The project itself was good for like, the Tubies of the world and stuff like that. And I was just happy with that. Maybe the next project, I definitely maybe look for a bigger home, a bigger place, and possibly, if it comes down to it, you got to give it up. You got to give it up. But I haven't in the last 5-6 years have not gone to festivals. I just felt like, but I do have a new film that I'm going to be shooting probably in the next 2 months. And I'm working with this other producer, and he kind of told me, hey, we're going to festivals with this one. And I'm like, let's do it. So a little bit change. I think everybody needs change. And I think I need to, even though I'm telling you I haven't done it, maybe it's for this next project will be good that I hit the festival circuit to start, hitting up places and talking to people, different types of people and stuff like that. And I think I started that whole thing also, because I wanted to go to the conventions. When Zombie with a Shotgun came out, it came out in November of 2019. Again, Amazon, they took it. It premiered, I think on the 28th, something like that. It premiered, and then 3 months, everything got shut down. And I was planning to take that film to all the horror conventions, comic conventions. Didn't get the chance, and I just felt like, you know what, these projects, I'm just going to release them myself. But the game's changed a lot. But not to say I have nothing against festivals. I think they're still awesome and stuff like that. I just don't have no patience.
Well, thanks for answering that.
Yeah.
As the owner of all your own intellectual property, how does getting your film on a streaming service affect you monetarily? Do they pay you for it, or you go through an agent? How does that work? What happens there?
Well, like for my stuff, there's some distributions that I'm with. Like Zombie with a Shotgun, I have a distribution company, but again, they don't own it. They just have it for. So their contract is pretty good. Some of these companies are pretty good. It's 3 years. I didn't want to go no longer than 3 years. And if I really wanted to take the project away, I could tell them no more. That's it. And you don't want to go. I would always recommend somebody don't go. 70-30 split is always the best. 70 for the artist, 30 for the distribution. Yeah, you could fight for 80-20 and stuff like that. I mean, first start 70-30 is good. And then now they have these other distribution companies that basically anytime you want to take it off the streaming service, you can. There's no year contract. There's no contract whatsoever. They say, okay, come to we'll distribute. And if you don't like us, you can pull it out. That's perfect. And so I work like almost like a self-distribution company. And then I work with other distributors. And, but I make sure, again, I don't want to get held up. Before, it was like a 10 years. Usually it was like a long time ago. It was always like a 10 years, and then it became 7 years, and then it's 5 years. And now like I said, the middleman is losing a lot, and now it's 3 years. So these distributors companies doing 3 years, but and again, it's just now it's awesome that like the artists have so much control of these of the projects now. And I think it sucks for a lot of other artists, a lot of other filmmakers that I worked with. They feel like, damn, I should have never sold my project, because now the time is you can start doing your own self-distribution here and there and make money. You could recut your film. You could do a lot of stuff. Look, now you got programs that you could animate your whole film now and re-release it as an animated sort of film. And it's like sort of like, and I even thought of that, like Zombie with a Shotgun 2.0 animation series. It's almost like what George Lucas did, right? Every like 5 years, he recut like 5 minutes to make it sort of a new director's cut, right? Mm-hmm. And that all started, right, because his divorce, his ex-wife owned the Star Wars. So he found out there was like some loophole. If you cut 5 minutes of your film, it's a completely different film. So he was like, all right, now after he did like, I don't know how many versions he's done, but the original version completely, there's stuff that we probably don't even remember. And I think every 5 years he changed it up so he could make more money of doing it. And that's another thing that a lot of filmmakers, independent filmmakers, we have the opportunity to do, especially if we own our own IP.
I got a question. When it goes up to a streaming service, do you get like one flat fee up front, or do you get paid per view?
So like, for example, you get paid for every view. And like, there's some distribution services that are out there that are pretty good. I'm going to mention one. I think Film Hub is a really good spot, right? I've had projects on that, and they're really awesome. And I'll tell you why. They actually will tell you every time the film was shown, and it'll tell you how much money you got from each time that film was streamed. And they release once a month. Like usually every distribution, you know how it is. It's every quarter, right? Every 3 months. With Film Hub, they actually release every month. I think it's the last week of the month they release it, and then you could cash out every month. Where distribution companies is every quarter. So stuff like that. I think Film Hub is a great spot. If people listening and they're independent filmmakers and artists, and that's a place that is awesome. I think it's great. They're very, it's very, everything is in front of you. It's like, no one's hiding anything, and they have everything recorded on your page, on your profile, on everything is there. It tells you where money's and everything it tells you. And I think that's awesome. And a lot of companies don't do that, and they do.
And you said that was Film Hub.
Filmhub.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're great. And they have contracts with everybody. And I think they just signed with Apple TV and Redbox. Now they're able to get your film there now. So that's a great place. If you have a film and they will pitch it to Apple TV and say, "Hey, look, this film's." So yeah, so that's the awesome part.
Don't go to the wrong hub, Scott.
Yeah.
I was thinking, should I go there? But no, Alan did.
I know. When I first saw it, I was like, wait, I want to film them. Yeah. Don't go to the wrong hub. I know. Hey, listen, that hub also pays a lot of money also.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, it'd have to be a niche group for me.
Now, you also said earlier that you're working on a third project. What is it? Or can you tell?
Well, right now there's a couple of projects that I want to work with, but I'm working with trying to get the sequel for Zombie with a Shotgun 2. I just feel that, when the first Zombie with a Shotgun was released, we were already in the move to do the sequel. I was having weekly meetings with actors and producers, and we had already a storyline to go with it. We just didn't have a script, but we were talking on a weekly basis of how we're going to get this raised money, invested, and everything. And again, boom, everything collapsed. And I felt like, oh man, I don't think we're ever going to do a sequel. But again, as time went by, doing my other stuff and everything, it's just the zombie genre is very popular. And I never realized that myself. I kind of underestimated the zombie genre. And, I'll be really truthful. I never in a million years would ever think that I would be in a zombie genre. If you told me this like years ago, like, hey, you think, like, no, it just happened to, when I created that web series, that's where it got popular. And I ran with it. Why not? You're trying to catch a wave, and I caught the wave. That was the wave for me to catch and continue with it. And I still am. But in the last 3 years, I get messages every day of like, oh man, I saw your film. It was awesome. When are you going to do the sequel? And so then I started like a Patreon page to see how it would go, and just, to start raising money and start doing content. And it just, I'm telling you, it's every day. So finally, in the last 3 or 4 months, I had, how campaign is. You got to prepare yourself. And that's the thing, is just preparing yourself mentally and physically. It's a 24/7 job. And help is the most important thing during a campaign. And I've been, the last 3 or 4 months, we have a script. We're looking into actors. We're recruiting actors. And I want to make it like the first time around the campaign, we did it. I did it raw. I'll be honest and tell you the most craziest thing I did. We finished that campaign in July. And in 2 weeks, we were shooting the film. Wow. I casted everybody in 2 weeks right after the campaign. And right after 2 weeks, we were shooting. That was crazy. I would never do that again. That was just nuts. And
it worked.
It did work. And the first campaign, we didn't have like, we did raw great actors from New York. And this time around, we're probably going to get some names to come into the film. And yeah, it was, it was awesome time doing the film. But it was difficult. And there's no lie about it. It was a really hard time just trying to raise that money. And, we shot it, I think, 10 to 12 days here in New York City. And then we went back a year later. We shot another scene, and then I think 2 years later we shot another, because we had to raise more money. But it was so this time around, that's one of the projects that, that's the one we're going to go for. I don't know if it's going to be in a month, 2 months. We're going to release a campaign, trying to figure out all the elements to put together, and this other short film project that I'm doing, we'll probably shoot that also like in a month or two. Something that I've been working. It's kind of like a science fiction horror film that I've been working on for the last like 3 or 4 years. And then finally I said, hey, you know what? me and this other producer saying, let's put a short film and let's try to promote it to maybe hopefully do the feature.
Well, so 6666.
Yeah.
I know, and I kind of just put the pieces together that this is bits and pieces of stuff that you worked on prior, and you added to it to complete the film, or was it something that you had and just waited to do as a feature film?
So that's a good story to get into. So when I did the whole zombie with a shotgun, I actually had two simultaneously web series ideas that I was going with. I did the zombie with a shotgun, and then I had 666, and I did 2 episodes, and I put them out there, and it happens to be that Eli Roth saw it. Him and his company, they saw it, and they contacted me, and they said they loved it. They said if I would go and do a original 666 for their channel they were about to launch. At that time, it was Crypt Horror / Crypt TV. And I was like, hell yeah. I mean, that was like an unbelievable, opportunity. And it was also amazing too, because I was riding high on Zombie with a Shotgun. And I would think if anybody would contact me to do something much bigger, much more, I would think it would be the Zombie with a Shotgun. And here you go saying, no, we want 666. So, I was like, oh, wow. So I did original content. I did an episode, and I actually opened up the Crypt Horror Eli Roth's channel. I was the first one to go into that channel, open it up. And after that, they had thousands of the filmmakers come up and everything like that. And then they closed the site and they did Crypt TV. And then I had shot these episodes, and Crypt Horror was, it was done. The interesting thing is they still have the, I think it's like a YouTube site of them, and there's the 3 original people who did the original content for them, and I'm one of them that's still up there, which is really cool. So it shows like there is a sort of like it shows the proof in the that's how it started, where it started. And they did Crypt TV, and they were like, oh, I was like, okay, I have all these original shorts that I shot for Crypt Horror, but they went on to doing their own content because I raised money or something would happen. So it was okay. Listen, I had a great opportunity. It was great. I was there, but I had these episodes that they were never cut. They were never seen. They were never cut. And I was like, oh, wow, what am I going to do with this stuff? It's just like a lot of projects, right? We work on something and then we shelf it, right? So I shelved these episodes. Never even cut them. Never even look like I looked at it one time and that's it. So when COVID came, we had a lot of free time. So I went to the storage, said, let me take all this projects that I've done for the last, 20 years. And I started going to my hard drives, started looking at this stuff. And I'm like, damn, this stuff is just really good. And the idea came with me. I'm like, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was like, wait a minute. I have almost 6, like 5.5 to 6 episodes shot. What if I go and shoot the 2.5 and shoot the other stuff like B-roll and stuff? I can make my own anthology feature film called 666. So during the time of COVID, I shot all those extra episodes, and I started putting up stuff that was missing and started putting everything together. And that was how 666 became.
Well, I really enjoyed this. Not that I didn't enjoy Zombie with a Shotgun. It's just this really spoke to me from the urban legend aspect and the creep factor. You really tapped into something. First off, your poster is terrifying. With the shadow people with the red eyes. And I just really, really thought you were onto something with this and really enjoyed it. So I'm super happy that you're here and that we can talk about this and recommend it, because I think more people need to see it and support artists like you that are out there doing the work. Because, I mean, and Hilton, I think you know this, I feel like you're one of us. You come in and I feel like we've known you forever.
Appreciate
You're
that.
just very easy to talk to, and I just feel like you're one of the weird kids.
Listen, I am one of and you know what? I appreciate that you like the film, and I want to say one thing also is I've always wanted to be part of an anthology film, and this is also why the idea came also to put all the films together. I watched all these horror films that made all these anthology horror films, and I've contacted many producers and, hey, I'm available if you need a guy to do an episode. And listen, man, I've contacted so many people, and I got replies back, but never got to do one. And that also came to me. I was like, wait a minute, I got my own anthology. I could put my own films because I've shot these projects, and I think that was a big motivation. Like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do my own, but I'm gonna do all the episodes, all 8 of them myself, and and I did go in there doing, and it's so weird because I didn't think about it after. Like each episode was shot on a different camera. I wanted to give a found footage episode. I wanted to do sort of like an erotic episode. Then I wanted to do a female revenge episode. Then I wanted to do a detective episode, and then I wanted to do a podcast episode, which was like me. So I put them all together, and I'm like, I wanted to give them their own sort of little feel and of the story. Yeah, some episodes kind of felt unconventional, but that's the weirdness of me, of coming out, just doing that.
You could definitely see that you've grown since Zombie in the Shotgun, with a shotgun, on the way it's just filmed. I mean, it's eerily filmed. The angles and the lighting and stuff, just are great.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I actually I look at it back and I do. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of like a huge reel for me. Yeah, I just looking back at it like dude, it was a lot of work. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you're watching it. It's like, don't open that chest. Don't go with your boyfriend to the spooky warehouse building.
Yeah. I have to really say this too. The actors were amazing. I mean, they did such a great job. I mean, I've gotten lucky with a lot of these projects. I mean, but the actors were great. I just like, you always get somebody that sometimes stink up the freaking film, and I felt like I hope I didn't do that. But everybody did an amazing job, and I have to say that they like, for example, episode 3, it was below 0 degrees, and she was a trooper. She was like, no, I'm going to do this film, and she did it with no complaints whatsoever. Shooting at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in downtown Lower East Side Manhattan. And, and that's the great thing, and I have to really tell, the cast and the crew that they did just an unbelievable job.
Yeah, I loved her transformation from, being the girlfriend to being the possessed girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. I like that.
Well, he got what he deserved.
Yeah. Come with me.
Well, my favorite, I guess, piece of the anthology was Hilton's when he was the podcast Uber driver dude. I loved that. I thought he did great. I didn't know you acted, and like I said, it was very well done. And I just really liked the creep factor of that episode with the kids in the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't take that girl's luggage in. Don't do it.
It was. I have to say, it definitely was an unconventional episode, especially at the very end of the things that that you see at the very end. And one of the inspirations of doing that episode was that beginning story clarifying, because last time I didn't clarify everyone, it was based on a true story that happened to me, because I myself have gone out and done Uber and Lyft, and we've done the Uber Eats and the Instacarts. You know, we've all done it. I've done it. And I'm living in New York. You gotta do it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of stuff is experienced for storytelling also. I mean, you know, here in New York's different also, you know, it is that you could definitely earn pretty good money doing it out here in New York. And so that beginning story of my segment was based on a true event that had happened to me in an Uber drive in a car, an event. So, but it's a, believe it or not, it's a rated G version. Meaning there were so many things that had happened that I could not really go and tell it, because it would never be like, you know, I just didn't want it to be so raunchy and stuff like that. And that was like the inspiration for that episode. I was like, hey, you know what? I should. And it's funny, the way I did it is me and my groupie, we sat down and we went together, and he's like, okay, we're going to film the 6 craziest stories that had happened to you. So we shot 6 stories, and obviously it was so long. So we took the best one that we thought that would be like not the easiest, but just made sense for the film. And we took that story, and we started off at the beginning of the film.
And that was the couples that were
couples that were
trying to lure you into something.
And to lure me to have them come over my house and sleep over. For what reason, I have no idea.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, and that was just a situation, but yeah.
And I'm going to be nosy. So when that happened, what were you thinking?
I remember just going home saying, and it was literally like maybe 2 a.m. going home. I was saying to myself, did that just really happen? I was like in this moment to myself, like, wow, you know, and I just could not believe it. I mean, the thing that was crazy is like when they all fell asleep. I mean, I tell people, and people tell me that's a lie. I'm like, dude, I am not lying to you. That happened. That half of the people, there was 3 couples, 3 or 4 people were snoring. I'm like, how the hell? And I thought they were playing a game with me. I'm like, these guys are punking me. You know, at that time it was 1 a.m. I'm driving. I just could not believe it. It just felt so surreal. That whole thing. It's like, you know, you see crazy things. Trust me, there's a lot of crazy things that has happened, but that one was just couldn't make it up. Yeah.
Hilton.
Yeah.
One of our viewers asked the question, do you let the actors improvise sometimes, or is it strictly whatever is written down?
All right, good question. So I tend to everything is written down, of course, and we do like a reading, and I always tell the actors, you know, I want you to feel it out. I want you to tell me, you know, how do you feel as the character? And I always give the opportunity for the actors, and I tell actors this: I don't have all the answers. That's why we have a team. You know, I'm telling you what I want the scene to look like, and I feel this is the way the scene should look like. But if you feel like, hey, Hilton, I think it'd be better if we said it this way, let me know, and we'll shoot it. And because a lot of times the actors do have the answers. And so what's written, yes, we're going to go what's written, because if you start telling them to improvise, what happens is that they go off the story. And let me tell you, I've done this before in the past, and it's not a good thing. You can improvise as long as you stay on the story. And if you tell them, yeah, you can improvise, they're going to screw it all up. Trust me. They're going to go talking about something completely different. So I tell the actors, yeah, don't go off the script. Just make sure that you're able to, if you're going to say something, improvise, but make sure it isn't the same line, because we have to have the other actor feed off of that line. And you have to make sure if you're going to improvise it, we have to say the same line in the next shot. So I do let the actors come with sometimes their ideas, and or it would be better. I said, okay, listen, we're gonna do what this says the script's gonna say, and then we're gonna do your version. And I give actors opportunities all the time because, again, when you go in the editing room, you're like, wow, this guy knew what he was talking about. Let's use what he improvised. So yes, I let them improvise to a certain, to a certain point where they still have to be on the page.
How often does it happen that you go with what the actors improvise, what they wanted to do, what they thought, rather than with the written script?
I would say like a good 20%. Yeah, especially the actors that are sort of seasoned,
Yeah.
and they kind of like have a better feel and vibe of it. And then there's like, I had a film. This is another film that I did that's also on streaming services. It's probably like one of my special films that's deeply my heart. It's called Therapy, and it's a film about tragedy of 9/11. This gentleman loses his loved one in the building, and he is traumatized, and he's going through this whole therapy. So I hired this guy to be the therapist in the film, and we went at it because he came 3 hours late.
Oh,
Okay, all the actors in the therapy session were gone, and he came to the set pissed drunk, and we're fighting. I'm like, dude, you ruined it. I said, I had to pay these actors still. I said, you just screwed everything. So I'm like, we're still going to shoot it. We're going to pretend you're there in the room. We're going to shoot you and everything. So he was so drunk, it took another 2 hours for him to get ready and everything. And one of the scenes, we got into this big fight. I said, no, I want you to say it like this. He's like, no, I know. I'm drunk. Trust me. Even though I'm drunk, he said, trust me. I know he say it. So I said, no, we're going to do my thing and we're going to do your thing, right? And when the last scene was so incredible, he just changed to this different guy. He said his own version. And I was so mad. I'm like, that's it. It's a wrap. Goodbye. I don't want to ever see you again. Which was bullshit. We were good friends. So we'll go in the editing room, and his drunk scenes were better than the scenes that I told him you have to straighten up and everything like that. And all the drunk scenes ended up in the fire.
Oh, that must have pissed you off, though.
It pissed me off, and I'll tell you what, you could never ever even know that he was pissed drunk. It's just unbelievable. And that film to me is one of my favorite pieces because, again, it means so much to me. You know, I did a film for 9/11 and the tribute to it. It was an awesome film.
And the name of that is Therapy.
It's called Therapy. Yes, it's playing in. See, that's one that Tubi did not take, but who took it? Oh, Plex has it, and
okay.
Plex has it. That's for free also. Well, wait. Does Tubi have? No, Tubi has it. Plex has it and other stuff. But I tell people to Plex because Plex is free. The other ones you got to sign up and all that stuff. Yeah, and that I think it's like an 18-minute film, and it's funny because it's not horror. It's a drama piece. But yeah, and there goes to answer his question that sometimes again I always admit it. We don't have all the answers.
So that was like your love letter to New York after 9/11?
That was my love letter to New York. That was sort of like my own therapy. I wanted to do something to get it off of me. And as an artist, I felt that I needed to do something for the project. I've talking to people. We're going to do something with the film this coming 9/11. We're going to showcase the project downtown Manhattan. We're trying to work out the details on that.
Good.
Well, keep us updated. I definitely want to promote it when you
Absolutely
have details.
Absolutely.
And I have seen it on Plex. I have it marked to watch, but I haven't watched it because it's such a heavy topic.
It is. It's very heavy.
When was it made?
2005.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, it was made in 2005. Yeah. Yeah, and and you know, I go a little bit on that short film. The actor, his name is Nelson. He passed away a couple of years ago, and he lived right there in Lower East Side, and he was my friend and everything. He was an actor, and he at that time he was like in a high, 'cause he did a film with Harrison Ford. He did a film with Nicole Kidman, and he did speaking roles, small parts, but they were pretty awesome. So I told him, hey, I need you to, you know, do a film for me, a short film. He would ask him, and he was like, yeah, yeah. He didn't, you know how it is. Yeah, yeah, whatever. So I wrote that film for him,
Wow.
and I, saw him in Lower East Side in my job, and I gave him the script. I said, I wrote this for you. And he was like, oh man, it looked like there was pressure. So he finally agreed on it. And when the film was done, he told me, he said, honestly, too, I'll tell you the truth, that was one of my best pieces I ever did. And for 9/11. So yeah, it was sad when he's passed away.
Now, was he the drunk therapist?
The drunk therapist? No, he's not the drunk therapist. No,
Okay.
he's not. No,
I just
no.
want to clarify.
Yeah, if you watch the film, you'll see the therapist, and you can never ever tell in a million years that he was pissed drunk. I mean, like pissed drunk. And yeah, that's a lesson, right? When you have a friend that's an active friend that wants to be, sometimes I tell people don't, and I tell this to a lot of people. Listen, be careful with friends when they're actors. That happened to be a really good friend and decide that, hey, I'm just going to come 3 hours late to the set because he's not going to get mad at me. 3 hours late. Unbelievable.
Damn. Do you have time to watch current films?
What kind of films?
Current. Things that are happening now.
Yeah.
You get out and see them?
Like recent movies?
Yeah, like
yes,
Evil Dead Rise.
I saw Indiana Jones. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I saw Boogeyman. I saw Insidious. I saw
The Red Door.
The Red Door. Yeah. Spider-Man, Spider-Verse. And I'm probably going to see Oppenheimer probably next week.
Awesome.
Yeah. Quite a lot of this summer. I've seen a lot of films than previous years.
Did you get to see Evil Dead Rise?
Yes, I did see it.
Well, what did you think? Because that's our bread and butter here. We talk about movies each week, and now we have our special guest. Let's hear what you thought of it.
I thought, you know what? Them going out of the whole woods thing was a little bit sort of different and stuff like that. I liked it. I thought that, I don't know. I did like it. I don't know what I expected a little bit more out of the film of it. What's her name? Did an unbelievable job.
Yeah, she did.
Oh my God. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt like I wanted to go back into the whole like kind of cabin in the woods kind of thing. I just felt
it was definitely different.
Yeah.
And while that main character, I mean the main bad guy, she did great. Honestly, kids killed it too.
Amazing.
Kids
yeah.
were great. They were fantastic. I just don't know how you get kids to act like that because it was creepy. It was a pretty creepy show, and I thought that you might be able to let us know when you've got something creepy like that. Does it bother any of your actors, or are they above that?
No, they're above that. They come prepared, knowing that this is what it's all about. You'd get people. And I go back to one of my films. So when I did Zombie with a Shotgun, I gave a script to a person to do a film, and he got back to me and told me that I love your concept and everything, but I can't do your film. And I was like, why? In the original script, one of the officers gets killed, and his father passed away.
No.
And he was a cop.
No, that's tough.
Yeah, and I understood.
Yeah, of course.
And, so it kind of like I hope I'm answering the question. It's like they get creeped out, and I think that creeped him out.
Yeah.
And when he read the script, he was like, "No way." We eventually did not do the scene, and it had nothing to do with that. It's you know how it is. The script changes as time goes by. It just changed. The film we just changed the storyline and everything. So I feel like when actors get creeped out or they're going to get creeped out, they'll let me know beforehand that I don't like the scene or creep. Even locations, I've had in times when people said I'm not shooting in this location, and I'm like, why? I don't like it. It's creepy. I've gotten that it was too abandoned. They didn't like it. I've gotten that before. So yeah, Gabe. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So it's funny. He's talking about Oppenheimer in the background. So yeah, the film was creepy. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I mean, the whole makeup job was just amazing.
Oh, the scene with the cheese grater, man, that got me.
Oh,
I'm glad it was fast. I'm glad it was over quick.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you could definitely keep on continuing that franchise. You could keep on continuing
forever.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what I liked about it, I did not like the remake. I thought the remake was just crap. But I love the fact that they took it to an apartment building and the whole concept that the earthquake just isolated these people on one floor. And what really sort of got to me was it was her family.
Yeah.
It was watching your brother and your sister be attacked by these things and turned. It wasn't just like, oh, this girl I brought up to the cabin. I love that movie. I thought it was great. I thought it was gory, very high tension. And yeah, like you said, Rich, she just did a fantastic job. Scared the hell out of you.
Yeah. She definitely stole the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the Evil Dead series, talking about Evil Dead, I was upset when they canceled the show.
Yeah.
I don't know why they just.
Well, I think they had it on Stars, and nobody had Stars. I mean, really, Stars, nobody really had that. So I think their core audience, they missed a lot of those people. A lot of people didn't see it till later on. Till I think it streamed on like Netflix, or I think Netflix streaming it. One of those big services.
Yeah, I think you're right. They did. They brought it in for a bit, and I think they took it out after.
Yeah, I think that's what did it in, was just it wasn't getting the viewers, just because it was on a network or a subscription service nobody had.
Yeah.
I felt that also with Dusk Till Dawn, because everyone told me to watch Dusk Till Dawn, but I think it was on El Rey.
Yeah,
I don't have El Rey, and I'm like, dude, I can't. Where do they say? Oh, watch it, and then they canceled that also.
Yeah, and the thing about El Rey is they didn't have a lot of programming either, so that kind of, it's sad, but it's money. You know that better than us.
Yeah,
all money.
Yep, that's what it is. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Tony is saying that I guess Bruce Campbell said that it was being pirated.
Oh, it's always going to be pirated, sadly.
Oh, that makes sense.
I get notices all the time that my books are on those free pirate websites, but
Same.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I know. I mean, sometimes I'll get people that tell me, "Oh, your film's getting pirated." I say, "Well, at least somebody's watching it."
Just review. Just if you're gonna pirate it, throw out a review, please.
Yeah, somebody's watching it. That's okay. But that's the thing that everybody got to worry about.
So, what do you have, like 5 to 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself, Hilton?
Well, that's a good question. It's a really good question. I have a discussion, and like I said, I'll go back what I said before. Like I would never ever think that I would ever be in the zombie genre and the horror genre and stuff like that. And I used to work with a friend of mine years ago. He was a DP. He's actually a pretty good DP. In India. He's a pretty famous known DP in India, and he was a really good friend of mine. And but he hates horror, which is funny, right? He's never DP'd any of my stuff, right? He's like, "Oh, I don't do that stuff." So for years, he's always told me, we need to do. There was a road trip film that an idea I had years ago, road trip project cross country United States, and that's the kind of stuff that he does. Large scope, and all this stuff films, and he's like, you know what, we're gonna have to do it, and we just talked about it, not like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and I think that I think I'm gonna go like I really like to go into like doing like drama romance films. It's funny to say, but I think I might turn into going to that sort of like even him giving me the idea. This road trip film I wanted to do it for 15 years ago. I had this idea I wanted to do, and I think that would be like the first film for me to decide. And again, I don't never want to leave horror or anything, but I definitely want to leave the genre to do another piece, another project. And again, like before, I've done documentaries and stuff like that. I've always dabbled in all different types of genres and stuff like that. And I think like in 5 years, I think you could see me exploring other genres.
Well, that's what I was curious about is if you're looking into like directing other people and and I mean like their works. I think you wrote Zombie with a Shotgun and you wrote 6666.
Yeah.
I think you wrote the I can't think of the clan.
Clan's Rules. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you wrote all the ones that I've seen.
Yes.
So are you looking at maybe shooting somebody else's work and kind of put your spin on it?
Like it's interesting that you say that because like my new projects that I've been working on, you guys know it's a lot of work. For my next project, I met this writer and he's really cool. We've hit it off, and he's always asked me, hey, you need help. He's always talks. So finally, I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Here's my concept. Here's what I have. You want to come in, help me write some of this stuff. So I'm working with a writer now, and a lot of it is his stuff, and I'm like willing to do it because again, it's a lot of work and stuff like that. And sometimes I feel like I need to concentrate a little bit more on the whole like directing and stuff like that. And eventually would want to go into doing other people's projects. I don't mind doing that, and that's just a part of the business. And it's. I mean, I would love to.
Yeah, we interviewed this director a few years back, and he was like he'd done like Sharknado, Aquarium of the Dead, stuff like that. And his thing he wanted to do was like a Sandlot type of movie. That was his dream, is to do some nostalgia thing from his childhood.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool that you can move back and forth and do what you want to do.
I definitely would love to like I said, test that genre and like like coming to age sort of like romantic kind of film and just shooting in the rural parts of America and just have that awesome sort of cinematic. I come from a photography background also. A lot of my stuff was I started a lot being a DP myself. Cinematography has a background on it, and I just like would just love to go shoot out there in the flatlands of America or somewhere out there. It's just beautiful to shoot this whole road trip film. And but yeah, hey, look, you never know, maybe it's a horror road trip film. But yeah, I love to do. To me, it's always a challenge, and and again, I always tell people, always say, what's your favorite genre? I say I don't have a favorite genre. Just as long as the story is good, it moves you. And just that's what all matters.
So what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh my God! I'm
outside of your own. Griffiths.
I Exorcist.
Really good choice.
Exorcist, and Halloween. Yeah.
Which version?
Oh, the John Carpenter original, Part 1.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, that one is okay. I'm thinking also other favorite ones. Yeah, those are my 2 favorite films. Yeah, Exorcist definitely is. There's a trivia on 666. The emblem that the chain that with the blood and everything is a trivia, and I keep on forgetting this, and it's just like, damn, to put it on IMDb. That is supposed to be the chain from The Exorcist in the very beginning when he falls down. That is it's
Oh,
I
even when
wondered about that. I felt like there was something more there, but I didn't know it. I'm
yes,
not.
he
I've seen The Exorcist maybe once, so it's not my favorite. But I did.
mentions it on episode 8 that it's from
Okay.
Iraq. It's the same exactly description that says in Exorcist, and that's a trivia that was supposed to be for it and everything. Because when you watch that film, right, they only show that emblem, that chain of, again, was St. Vincent's, St. Thomas, whatever. It falls down slow motion down on the very, I think the first maybe 15 minutes of the film. They show that scene, and I think they show it one more time in the film, like for a second or two. But no one really, it doesn't really talk about it. It only, it only talks about the statue, but it doesn't talk about the chain that's falling slow motion down. And I took that idea and say, hey, what if that is where the evil's coming from? But hopefully somebody catches it when they watch the film, and that's a good trivia too, that I need to put down on IMDb. But
nice little Easter egg there.
That's the Easter egg there, yeah. And yeah, I years ago, I would say Exorcist was always my favorite film. When you're little, you're young, you watch films differently, and as I got older, I would say in the last like 10 years, I watching Exorcist again, and I never read the novel, so I don't know, what was in the novel. Obviously, it was adapted for the screenplay for the film. I felt that the movie was the real horror of the film was the priest. I felt that that's the scariest moment in the film is when you're like almost 50, or he was in his late 40s, and he realized everything he did was a waste of time. That was the horror to me. The horror is that this guy just realized that, I should have been this boxer. I should have went for it. But I was sort of kind of like persuaded and pressure from my mom to be this priest and to take care of her, to do things for everybody else, but not for himself. And at the very end, I felt it when you watch it. And it took me almost like 30, 35 years to realize, holy shit, that's the horror. That is the real horror of the film, especially at the very end. He's telling her to come in me. He wanted to fucking die. He knew his life was like this waste of time. And I think that, to me, said, this has to be the best horror film. And I feel like the backdrop of the film is actually the girl. The backdrop is her being possessed. But the real horror story is the priest. And I think that was just...
Dude, you're so deep.
I think that was just so clever. And it took me 35 years to freaking realize. To me, that's my opinion. That, everyone has...
I want to rewatch it now.
And I saw it, and I said to myself, this has to be the greatest horror film ever. Because that is a horror. Think about it. Your life is basically done. I mean, you hear the detective, and that's why they did the film. And I'm looking at it, I said, no, that is what they were trying to portray. And this priest, the reporter, whatever, kept on saying, why you never became a boxer? And he's giving him all these damn excuses. He fucked up, and he knew it. But that is ultimate story right there. And yeah, and Halloween to me, classic slasher film, man. It's like, I don't know how many times we've watched it. I just can't even tell you. I could still watch that movie and just
it never grows old.
I just don't know what it is. It's just magical. It's just 1 and 2. Also, 2 is like, it's like magical. Like watching it all the time. Like, wow, I love it.
Well, on that note, kids, our hour is up. And Hilton, it has been a pleasure. I'm so glad that you were able to come on tonight. And you know that you always have a pass to come hang out with any of us. So just let us know when you want to come on. And you always have a seat at our campfire, friend.
Yep.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys coming in. again, if anybody haven't seen a new project, Beyond the Halls of Paradise 666, it's on Amazon. It's also now streaming in the streaming service called Reveal, REVEEL.com. It's free there. Again, I have no control with Amazon. I thought that Amazon was going to actually screen it for free, and I guess they want money too. So, you just sign up as an account, you log in, and then you can watch the film for free in Reveal. But I'm pretty sure in a week today, I got the notice that Tubi selected the film, and it's about to get delivered there, and they're going to start screening it. And if you guys haven't seen Zombie with a Shotgun, easily just Google Zombie with a Shotgun. You can see all the streaming services. A lot of people get confused because there is the original 5 episodes that's put into a short. That's called Zombie with a Shotgun, The Beginning. So if people want to watch that before they watch the feature, you can also watch that. That's also on all different streaming services. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter on Hilton Ariel Ruiz or Zombie with a Shotgun. I'm always there. You can ask me any questions, and that's where you can find me.
Well, and Hilton's also got graphic novels, got a video game. He's got all kinds of everything you can imagine with Zombie with a Shotgun. You guys go out and support him, like his stuff, hit him up on social media, and always, until next time, stay weird.
Thanks for joining us.
Love it. Thank you, guys. It's awesome.